Hello and welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me into the next Battlerite Champion Spotlight. My name is Wilky and we're in for the for now final Spotlight, and today we're going to take a look at Bakko, the hero of the Boulder Pass, or for the BLC season players, this one is closely reminiscent to Vanguard. So taking a look at his first build, which is War X, dealing 8 damage, so it's not the hardest hitting melee attack, but it'll grant you a weapon charge similar to the one we just saw on Shifu, and these weapon charges will be used for your second ability, which is called Blood X. Now Blood X is a ranged attack, a projectile, which will consume any of the charges you are having stacked up using your left click, and what that does, basically this axe deals already 16 damage, so it's a relatively hard-hitting ranged attack. Also, it'll increase your damage by 4 per each charge. So at a maximum of 3 charges, you can actually deal a whopping 28 damage with this axe. So it's a pretty hard-hitting ranged attack. Also, once you have full charge, full charges only, it'll inflict a fading snare for 1.5 seconds, so it'll also slow the enemy. So it's a very good offensive tool, as well as a slight CC ability. His spacebar is Valiant Leap, dealing 22 damage, which is pretty good for a movement ability. It slows the enemy also for 30% for 1 second, and it'll grant you some kind of invulnerability, as you can see. For, I guess, basically, as a basic reminder, every time you see your character do moves, or basically remove yourself from the ground and you don't see your HP or energy bar anymore, that's a pretty good indicator that you're usually invulnerable to any sort of damage or effects. It's not always the case, but generally this is a good indicator of how things work. As you can see, pretty good damage, relatively large landing radius, has a slight delay, also can be targeted relatively good, so you can actually do a very short hop or basically on point. So it's a very good targetable animation and skill, allowing you to very good allocate yourself on the battlefield. Now his Q is Bulwark, which is basically another counter that'll block enemy attacks, but unlike other counters, it'll not stop as soon as you block the first attack. It'll just continue blocking everything that's fired in his direction. Also, if you are a melee attacker, or if a melee hit knocks into your Bulwark, it'll actually stun the enemy. Unfortunately, I cannot show you this unless a melee, it doesn't actually count as a melee even though I'm close range, but if a melee is actually about to hit you in your shield, he'll be stunned for a whopping 1.5 seconds, which is not broken by any damage, so this is a very large and good CC you can put onto enemies with a well-timed Bulwark. Also, keep in mind, it'll only block, as you can see this, I guess, 180-degree orange shield, it'll only block stuff that is more or less in the front of you or sideways. You're pretty much vulnerable from the back, but you can turn your camera around relatively good. His E ability is Shield Dash, which is basically a short dash. It gives you another bit of mobility that pushes the enemy away. Should you push an enemy into a wall, it'll deal 16 damage, so it can be used as a damage tool as well. Also to simply just escape if something is being fired in your way and your spacebar is maybe on cooldown, you can always use this for a short dash to position yourself. Alright, taking a look at his X abilities, so the first one is War Stomp. You basically sacrifice your ability to jump away for a whopping 3.5 seconds, incapacitate all around you, which is going to look like this. Relatively fast execution, 3.5 second incapacitate, I think that's the longest one in the game at this point. So very long incapacitate, however, at the cost of 25 energy and the cooldown of your jump. So it'll leave you kind of vulnerable if you whiff this attack or you don't hit the right enemy. His second X ability is Shield Slam, which changes the way your shield dash works. And basically, it'll always deal damage, so it does not always only deal damage as soon as you hit somebody or knock somebody into a wall. Basically, it has a slightly higher range, if I'm not mistaken. We're just gonna do a check, but I'm fairly certain that you can actually see the difference. So, oops. Alright, we're just gonna position ourselves here. For a normal E, I'm roughly getting pretty much in between these two. And if I use the X version, you can see that you're actually dashing a bit further. So keep that in mind whenever you use this, that you actually have a bit of a further reach. And as I said, this will always deal damage, it'll knock enemies away, and it'll snare them in the process. However, you're not going to get anything extra for knocking people into a wall. His third X ability is War Shout, which buffs up allies and yourself for a shield that absorbs up to 40 damage, which is pretty good. However, it only lasts 2.5 seconds, so this has to be rather well timed. As you can see, this ally and myself are granted this shield, so it's a very powerful tool to protect not only yourself, but also allies. And for his ultimate, we have Heroic Charge. This is a very scary ability. It has probably one of the highest ranges in the game. So as you can see, we're actually covering a lot of distance. It has a short windup, so it can be dodged if not done very well. So the first enemy that you'll hit will be dealt 35 damage. Now there's two things about this. Either you push the enemy into a wall or into another enemy. I can show you this pretty much well here. So the first one will take 35 damage, and due to hitting another enemy, you'll do this little stomp that'll deal another 25 damage. And it'll also stun the first enemy that you hit. So if you actually manage to grab them into a wall, they will not be able to escape, and they will be dealt a full 60 damage. So it's a very powerful ability if done correctly, and can be quite scary as well. Anyway, so this sums it up for Bakko's Champion Spotlight. My name is Wilky, and hopefully this will give you some kind of brief explanation of what the champions are, and maybe for the BLC peeps out there that they might have an easier time to get back into the game. Anyways, like I said, so far Stunlock Studios released info that they will probably release 2 new champions in October. There's no definite date yet, so it'll probably be, I assume, at least 3 weeks or something before I'll be doing a next Spotlight. However, as I said, I might do some more in-depth guides on certain champions at least that I personally am playing, because as far as I'm concerned, as far as I personally believe, there's no good playing every champion, at least not to the fullest potential. So you should try and pick at least a few. However, playing every champion at least a couple matches is a very good way to get to learn them. So don't try to master everything, but try to pick out at least 2, 3 and try to get really good with them. But if you have trouble fighting certain champions, feel free to check out the others as well. Anyways, like I said, last Spotlight for now. Hopefully, as usual, you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you guys think about this, and without further ado, hopefully see you guys in the next video, whatever else that may be.